All right, guys. So there's just some things in life that, I just love, right? One of them things is hanging out with the boys, hanging out with the fellas, chilling. You know what I'm saying? Having fun, having some drinks, you know, doing guy things, right? I love that. That's a life worth living, okay? And what I'm actually really, really, really learning to love, okay, is seeing parents speak out against critical race theory. And I especially love seeing so-called minority parents speak out against this, because the woke revolutionaries on the left, they love to talk about critical race theory and try to act like, well, it's not harmful. It just is attacking white supremacy, and the goal is to make society equal across all races, and you have to attack the structure of white supremacy in order to do that, right? That's basically what they say, okay? And there's a lot of people, right, super woke people that are trying to defend critical race theory, try to act like, oh, it's not worth talking about, it's not worth actually having a conversation about. However, again, when you see a black mother speak out against this toxic ideology, that tells you all you need to know about how dangerous this actually is, and how actual black people, black parents, feel about this ideology being taught to their kids in school. Let's take a listen.
My name is Keisha King. I'm a mom of two, one who's in the Duval County public school system and one in private school thanks to school choice. I'm also a member of Moms for Liberty, representing thousands of parents. Just coming off of May 31st, marking the 100 years of the Tulsa riots, it is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021. That is not teaching the truth, unless you believe that whites are better than blacks. I have personally heard teachers teaching CRT, and we have had an assembly shut down because Duval County Public School System consultant thought it would be a great idea to separate students by race. This is unacceptable. CRT is not racial sensitivity or simply teaching unfavorable American history or teaching Jim Crow history. CRT is deeper and more dangerous than that. CRT, in its outworking today, is a teaching that there is a hierarchy in society where white, male, heterosexual, able-bodied people are deemed the oppressor, and anyone else outside of that status is oppressed. That's why we see corporations like Coca-Cola asking their employees to be less white, which is ridiculous. I don't know about you, but telling my child or any child that they are in a permanent oppressed status in America because they are black is racist, and saying that white people are automatically above me, my children, or any child is racist as well. This is not something that we can stand for in our country. And don't take it from me, look at the writers of these types of publications. Our ancestors, white, black, and others, hung, bled, and died right alongside each other to push America towards that more perfect union. If this continues, we will look back and be responsible for the dismantling of the greatest country in the world by reverting to teaching hate and that race is a determining factor on where your destiny lies. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Again, like I said, guys, I love that. I absolutely love that, because it defeats the idea that, oh, this theory is supposed to help racial equality. It's supposed to be helping black people, right? Because that's the crux of it, okay? That's the crux of it. It's supposed to be attacking white supremacy. When obviously, there's people like me who just like, you know what? I don't really believe that white people are superior to me, right? I don't really believe that it is okay to tell young kids that another race is superior to them purely because of their skin color. I don't think that's a good idea, okay? A lot of governors like Ron DeSantis, have went out and banned the teaching of critical race theory in schools. And a lot of people are criticizing him for this and saying that the conservatives are banning ideas. And I'm like, no, critical race theory is not banned, right? The idea is not banned. You're free to talk about it, right? They definitely teach it in corporate America, or at least some elements of it. So it's not like it's banned. It's just, hey, we shouldn't be paying taxpayer dollars to fund this type of ideology to teach our kids this stuff, right? The same reason why we don't teach kids all types of other things in school. because it's not appropriate use of our taxpayer dollars. This is not a conversation that should be had among kids. Okay. And, one of the reasons why critical race theory, in my opinion, is so toxic is because it is directly related to Marxism. Its roots is in Marxism, right? There was critical theory and then critical legal theory. And then out of all that came critical race theory, which focuses more on race. Okay. It relies on social constructivism, right? That's what it relies on. That's the same thing that gender theory relies on, which is social constructivism, right? And this is the same type of ideology that was used in China during the Cultural Revolution, right? In order to implement communism, which should be no surprise to anybody because it is rooted in Marxism. And that in and of itself should be enough to oppose this theory, because I don't want America to be a communist nation. Okay. And I'm so glad that another parent, an Asian parent, went on Hannity to explain exactly what I'm talking about. Take a listen.
And down in the great state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis continues to be a beacon of hope against his far-left lunacy, as the Florida Board of Education has approved the governor's rule banning teaching of critical race theory in the state's public schools. Joining us now for reaction, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, along with the mother you just saw in that video, She Van Fleet, is with us. You were 6 years old when the Cultural Revolution began in China, and you have spoken eloquently about what it was like in school, and posters hung in hallways, and teachers and students would attack each other for being ideologically impure. Can you explain what you experienced and the similarities you see?
Okay. I just want to let the American people know that what's going on in our school and in our country is really a replay of the Cultural Revolution in China. And I want people to see there's similarities, and the similarities are terrifying. They use the same ideology and same methodology, even the same vocabulary, and with the same goal. The ideology is cultural Marxism, and we were divided into groups as oppressor and oppressed. And here we use race, and there they use class. And the people here who have a different review were labeled racist. But in the Cultural Revolution, the label is counter-revolutionary. So it is a hat that fits all. And once the hat is on your head, your life is ruined. And the methodology is also very similar. It's cancel culture. We basically cancel the whole Chinese civilization pre-communism. And we changed our school names, street names, store names. We changed even our personal names. My name is Xi, and I was named after the city I was born, Xi'an. Xi means west. It also refers to the imperialism. So I wanted so bad to change my name because I want to be more communist. I'm glad my parents convinced me not to. And the vocabulary is even the same, wokeness. And to be specific, we used class wokeness. In Chinese, it is 阶级觉悟. Your level of wokeness determine your chance to get promotion or to get benefit. And who decide your level of wokeness? It is the party leaders.
Yeah, and you speak from real experience. I mean, you were 6 years old, but you lived 20 years under this oppression, and it sounds like out of the lessons you learned under Mao and the revolution, you see this groupthink now appearing in America, and you're trying to warn Americans that you don't want to go down this road.
Again, guys, I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, that in and of itself is another reason why we should not be teaching this ideology in schools, right? This is just another attempt by the woke revolutionaries to try to implement Marxism, right, / communism into our society. That's how it is. It's a slow trickle, right? It is dividing people up by race, okay, trying to reshape and restructure society and using the excuse of race in order to do that. They say, well, oh, white man bad, white supremacy this, white supremacy that. And they use that to destroy the society that we all know and love, our institutions. Okay? Again, same thing happened in China, right? And this is why China supports Black Lives Matter, right? And it makes sense for why Black Lives Matter was found by trained Marxists. Okay? They're all in the same bed. You remember China at that meeting with world leaders, right? When they basically told Biden that we don't respect their administration, right? Where they brought up Black Lives Matter. The reason why China defended Black Lives Matter and they like Black Lives Matter is because they use Black Lives Matter and their Marxist ideology to divide America. Okay? Because the ideology that Black Lives Matter is trying to push on this society is similar to the communist / Marxist ideology in China. Okay? And guys, I don't play video games like that, but when I do play video games, I play video games that make me think, right? Some games that make me learn. And one of my favorite games is Civ, right? Civilization, right? Civ 5 specifically. In that game, right, you can win through like technology, through war. You can also win through culture, right? You make other countries and civilizations make their people like your culture, right? That's also how you can win the game, right? It's kind of similar to what's going on, right? China is trying to use Black Lives Matter and these far left woke revolutionaries, and this is why I call them woke revolutionaries, because they're Marxists basically, to basically get a cultural victory over America and to influence America. And that's how you low-key can have control over another society. Now, our favorite neighborhood Marxist, Mark Lamont Hill, tried to come at C.J. Pearson on this subject. And I want to play this because I found this little interview with C.J. Pearson pretty interesting.
Well, I think what also Martin Luther King implored people to do, again, to go back to what I was saying.
No, can you answer that specific question? Can you answer that specific question, though? Can you answer that specific question? Because if you're saying we should follow King's example, and King argued that most whites were subconscious racists, I'm asking you to answer that specific question. Do you agree with that piece of Martin Luther King's teaching, and do you agree that that should be taught in school?
Well, Mark, if you let me answer the question, I gladly will. Here's, again, the deal is we can parse Martin Luther King's words all day long. The fact of the matter is that any type of racism is unacceptable, whether it's directed at black people, white people, Asian people, yellow people, green people. It is wrong. It has no place in our schools and certainly has no place in being taxpayer funded.
Okay, just to be clear, you didn't answer the question about Martin King, but I won't badge you on it. I'll move on to another question. But my question was if you agree with Martin Luther King on that issue, and you have not answered it. But I'll move on to another question here. You said that critical race theory teaches to hate white people. You said that critical race theory teaches that black people won't succeed, or that their race is the reason why they don't succeed in America. What critical race theorist argues that? Can you name one, just one, out of the hundreds of people who've written in critical race theory? Can you name one who says that?
We're talking about the body of work here, Mark. I understand your tactic. You ask specific
name one.
questions.
No, I'm asking you to name one.
Mark,
I'm asking you to name just one.
Let me talk, Mark. I understand your tactic. You ask these specific questions to flex your PhD degree. I get it. That's cool. But also, too, let's talk about the total body of work. It's not limited to one particular scholar. We're talking about the body of work. The body of work that teaches that black people are disadvantaged because of the color of their skin. The body of work that teaches that all white people, as you said, are apparently unconscious racists. The body of work that tells young black folks in this state, in this country, that we are nothing more than our circumstances. That is not how we propel our people. That is not how we push forward. That is not how we become the independent black people, black community that I know you want us to be, Mark, deep down. That's not how we move our people forward.
Right.
At all.
So
just name one. Just name one critical race theorist. Just name one critical race theorist. It's funny how Mark Lamont Hill really does love to use his PhD to try to get gotcha questions on people, right? Instead of actually discussing the core ideology and, the potential negative effects of teaching this to kids, he doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to try to attack people on the idea that, well, you don't know enough about critical race theory to talk about it. Well, how much do you have to know? Again, if you just read the basics, you can reject the premise of it right there. You can reject the premise of it just based off the fact that it comes from Marxism, right? That's how you can reject it right off the bat. And shout out to CJ Pearson. He actually held his own pretty good in his interview with Mark Lamont Hill, okay? Because he did try to get him with the gotchas, right? He did try to get him with the you're too ignorant to be having this conversation. You're just against critical race theory because it's the popular thing to do instead of actually having a real reason. But see, CJ Pearson is smart enough to understand that, you know what? Listen, you don't have to know all the critical race theories in order to understand the basic premise of this ideology, okay? What we're teaching to kids and how it's not good for our society, right? How you don't want this type of Marxist ideology to be taught to people. You don't need to know everything about the theory and to read academic papers to know that. You just need a Google search to know that. And people like Mark Lamont Hill, whose net worth is over $1 million, by the way, and there's nothing wrong with that. He can make money doing his hustle. I ain't knocking his hustle. I'm just saying, it's just funny how a lot of these communists / socialists, they make a whole lot of money telling people about an ideology that essentially is going to strip people of their money, right? Their economic rights and things that we know and love about this country, right? This country is so bad that somebody like Mark Lamont Hill can go out here and make millions of dollars teaching an ideology that is in direct opposition to how he got to where he is right now. Guys, can you believe this man worked at Fox News, right? He used to be a contributor for Fox News, right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, like I said, man, I'm happy to see a lot of people standing up against this. And, you know, with people of all different races and colors, not just white people coming out against it, I think it makes the argument a lot stronger for why this toxic ideology should stay out of schools. And I hope that parents keep speaking up. I really do. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.